To many people, I, Qian Fei, am just an ordinary girl living in a big-sized city. I come from an average family with no prominent background or extraordinary luck. Through persistent studying, I stepped into the fiercely competitive investment bank industry. I am steady-minded, restrained, and always plan ahead. I used to firmly believe that hard work would pay off. I once imagined love filled with worldly warmth, saving money to buy an apartment together with the one I love, living simple day-to-day lives, returning home to a light lit for each other, spending plain years side by side. Back then I thought happiness could be built jointly by two people. Yet I ignored one vital truth. Not everyone is willing to walk through ordinary, trivial days with you. Some only want to borrow your warmth to light their way upward. My relationship with Wang Rohai spanned 7 whole years, from university into our working lives. We shared youthful passion, mapped out our future, accumulated savings together, and even paid the deposit for our wedding apartment. I devoted myself wholeheartedly to this bond. I remembered his preferences, baked birthday cakes for him, calculated monthly salaries and mortgage payments, and placed him in every chapter of my imagined future. My best friend Yao Jingjing warned me time and again to watch for changes in him, but I kept making excuses for him. I trusted 7 years of shared memories would be strong enough to resist temptation. Only later did I realize that some people's inner scales had long tilted toward benefits and shortcuts, which I simply refused to see. Reality collapsed all of a sudden. 7-year-long affection lost to the temptation of social advancement. He chose an easier path, abandoned me, and turned to someone who could bring him resources and convenience. At the moment of separation, I did not break down in hysterical weeping. Yet my inner vision of the future crumbled completely. We divided our joint savings. He settled his sense of guilt with money, turned around briskly, and left me stranded. The heavy mortgage weighed heavily on me. My salary was modest, barely covering daily expenses. Those were my hardest days. Heartbreak, financial pressure, and confusion about the future wrapped around me. At work, I had to stay composed, and only in my empty apartment at night could I let my emotions spill over. I did not regret having loved, yet I pitied the girl who had earnestly dreamed of a shared life and ended up with nothing. During that low point in life, I learned to bear all hardships alone. I pushed myself hard at work, preparing for professional qualification exams and handling countless workplace challenges. When you are at rock bottom, you tend to crave a little warmth. So I gave blind dates a try, but I met Hu Zining, who excelled at sweet words and testing a woman's boundaries. Having been hurt once, I grew sensitive and cautious. I gradually saw through his disguise and withdrew in time. After 2 successive setbacks in romance, I began to reflect on what love truly meant for me. I no longer hoped a relationship could redeem me. I finally understood that a sense of security cannot be given by others. It has to be earned by myself. I poured energy into preparing for the sponsor representative qualification exam, striving for solid professional ground so I could survive without relying on anyone else. Fate works in mysterious ways. Just when I had almost lost faith in romance, Li Yifei walked into my life. At first, we were flatmates. He was sharp-tongued, stubborn, and enjoyed bickering with me. My first impression of him was far from perfect. Living under one roof, we quarreled constantly amid mundane domestic trivialities. As time went by, I peeled back his brash surface and discovered a different side. He seldom delivered flowery promises, but his care revealed itself through concrete actions. When I buried myself in exam preparation, he quietly shielded me from trivial extra tasks to guarantee study hours. When I worked overtime late into night, he stayed beside me silently. Faced with tough work problems, he sorted out ideas for me and told me to focus on what mattered. He never said, "I will support you," yet he steadily held up a ladder for me so I could move forward without heavy burdens weighing me down. Just as my life was stabilizing, new misfortune struck. My father fell seriously ill. Medical bills overwhelmed me. Helplessly, I had to sell the apartment where I had placed so many hopes. Selling it felt like losing a piece of myself. It marked farewell to my youthful past. I never expected that Li Yifei was the buyer. He concealed his identity as landlord and rented the apartment back to me at a low price. He guarded my self-esteem and avoided making me feel pitied or indebted. Behind the scenes, he arranged hospital beds and specialist appointments, taking much real-world pressure off my shoulders. Back then, I knew nothing about his true family background as the exiled heir of Qian Group. All I saw was a man who protected my dignity when I was most helpless and broken. The past refused to fade away quietly. After experiencing ups and downs, Wang Ruohai reappeared. Seeing my improved career and transformed temperament, he wanted to win me back. He arranged class reunions and staged sentimental apologies, trying hard to re-enter my world. Human memory lingers. I was not made of stone, and I wavered for a moment. I agreed to a 1-month observation period to give him a second chance. Yet trust, once broken, can hardly be fully mended. Deep scars remained in my heart. I could not genuinely let go of old wounds or accept him without reservation. I realized I only missed the youthful days of the past, not this calculating adult standing in front of me. Eventually, I firmly ended this entanglement and bid final farewell to bygones. Some chapters, once closed, cannot be reopened. While I tangled with Wang Ruohai, Li Yifei moved out silently. Staying in the empty apartment, I slowly recognized my real inner feelings. I thought I was still trapped in old affections. Yet the person stirring my heart was already that sharp-tongued yet soft-hearted former flatmate. Unlike others who wove beautiful dreams with words, he offered me respect and understanding, allowing me to preserve my independent self within love. When his real identity was exposed, I was utterly shocked. The ordinary flatmate who used to banter with me came from a wealthy family, burdened with huge corporate pressure. A massive class gap stood between us, accompanied by public doubt, curious stares, and tests from senior family members. Anxiety haunted me, yet I knew I loved Li Yifei the person, not his wealth and status. Li Yifei's own life was full of twists. Once driven out of his family, he shed his privileged background, endured hard times, and built up competence and connections by his own efforts. When Qian Group fell into deep crisis, he stepped forward to turn the tide. Facing public opinion storms and collapsing stock prices, he made calm strategies, invited brand spokespersons, handled public relations disasters, and led corporate restructuring to gradually reclaim what belonged to him. I watched him set aside his playful manner and bear heavy responsibilities. Through all worldly turbulence, his attitude toward me never shifted. During long-distance separation, he would order takeout meals for me across cities. He remembered every milestone of my exam preparation. When his former lover Gui Lily came to provoke and spread rumors about me, he stood firmly on my side and declared openly that I was the only woman for him. He never expected me to lean entirely on him. Instead, he sincerely wished me to achieve my own professional dreams and shine in my career. My understanding of love has been reshaped by reality. When I was young, I imagined warm domestic love meant total merging of two lives, sacrificing myself for family and yielding to my partner's choices. After detours and setbacks, I finally comprehend what genuine worldly warmth really is. It is not companionship bought through self-sacrifice, nor one-sided reliance. It is two complete, independent adults choosing to draw near to each other, each holding fast to their own career and personality. We can share simple daily meals and also stand together against fierce worldly tempests. I do not need to borrow light from anyone to glow. I carry light within myself. Li Yifei saw this truth. He admired my perseverance, ambition, and career ideals. He never asked me to abandon my investment bank work and become a sheltered rich man's wife. He hoped I would obtain my professional certificate and realize my personal value. I also endured numerous trials in my career. The investment bank industry is brutal and high pressure. I witnessed a colleague pass away from overwork. Attending his funeral shook me profoundly. In that moment, I woke up to the truth. Life cannot always wait for some day in the future. When heartfelt affection arrives, you need to grasp it bravely. I survived countless late-night review sessions, resisted heavy pressure, and obtained my sponsor representative qualification certificate. I grew from an ordinary employee into a project leader. People who once underestimated me, as well as my former lover who hurt me, sat in the back of conference rooms watching me chair major projects. I had no desire for deliberate revenge. I only stayed true to years of hard work. The confidence brought by my profession cannot be bought with money nor taken away by others. Even if love vanishes one day, I still possess solid means to sustain myself. Ultimately, a woman's sense of security must root within herself. When Li Qiansheng, Li Yifei's father, tested me by asking whether he should arrange a well-matched wealthy family marriage for his son, now that the Li family had regained prosperity, I replied calmly, "As long as your son agrees, I have no objection." This was neither petulant anger nor feigned generosity. By then, I had gained inner certainty. I no longer feared trials brought by status gaps. I owned my professional credentials, my work track record, and my father had recovered his health. I did not need anyone's permission to stand beside my beloved man. I did not cling to wealth. I stood here by my own merit. I loved Li Yifei, yet I remained Qian Fei. I would never lose my inner self merely because I became his partner. If circumstances changed one day, I could step back into my own life gracefully, calm and self-possessed. Along my journey, I have observed many patterns of love. Wang Ruohai's affection was a calculated choice after weighing pros and cons. Hu Zining's tenderness was constructed by schemes. Gui Lily's feeling was mixed with resentment and possession. At last I met Li Yifei, whose love puts respect first, whose actions speak louder than words, who accepts all of me through peaks and valleys. He has seen my hopeful visions for the future, my fragile breakdowns after heartbreak, my weariness while struggling for survival, and my decisive brilliance in the workplace. He does not demand perpetual obedience or endless strength from me. He allows me to show exhaustion and takes genuine pride in every one of my achievements. Our bond grew from noisy domestic flatmate life, passing through misunderstandings, separation, class barriers, and outside storms to settle into deep affection. We are imperfect human beings. We quarrel and disagree, yet we communicate, tolerate each other, and resolve difficulties side by side. Many say I was lucky to meet Li Yifei after heartbreak, yet I know this fortune did not fall from nowhere. If I had drowned myself in sorrow after heartbreak and given up self-improvement, if I had yielded and returned to Wang Ruohai, if I had pinned all life hopes on men, even good fate could not have been seized by me. Every seemingly accidental blessing is built on countless nights of stubborn persistence. I worked hard, prepared for examinations, kept my original heart, did not become cynical out of pain or utilitarian because of reality. I still believed in sincerity and yearned for simple domestic happiness. Only because I refused to stop growing into a better self did I deserve this mutual devotion romance. Good love means well-matched souls. You are outstanding, and so am I. In my younger days, I thought love with worldly warmth only meant steaming kitchens, shared mortgage burdens, and trivial daily chores. After experiencing the world, I understood its deeper meaning. Worldly warmth includes not only comfort and gentleness, but also setbacks, pain, and messy reality. True love does not merely share prosperity, it also gets through adversities together. When my father fell ill and I had to sell my apartment, he did not walk away. When his group faced collapse and he was overwhelmed, I did not shrink back from gossip. Having witnessed each other's most awkward and broken moments, we still chose to stay. Love with mortal warmth is half gentle companionship, half braving wind and rain side by side. I no longer expect love to fill every hole in my life. A lover can keep me company, yet cannot grow for me, can support me, yet cannot bear suffering in my place. I first complete my own life, then welcome another complete soul into my world. I no longer place the key to happiness into someone else's hands. I build my career on my own shoulders, endure hardships by myself, process my emotions independently, and then look forward to romantic affection as an added blessing. I am no longer afraid of loss, for I have my own inner armor. Looking back, 7 years of misplaced affection, housing pressure, serious illness of my parent, cruel workplace competition, bad dates, pestering former love, and barriers created by social status all weighed upon my shoulders. I stumbled, felt lost, and suffered heartache, yet I never surrendered completely. Little by little, I pieced my broken self back together. I learned to distinguish true sincerity from pretense, to cut losses in time, to stay independent, and to love equally. After seeing human complexity, I did not turn cold-hearted or sharp-spined. I preserved inner softness. In the end, I obtained my long-awaited professional certificate and secured my place in the industry. My father recovered and lives in peace. Li Yifei and I crossed numerous obstacles and held fast to each other's hands. The outside world sees a happy ending. Yet only I remember how much mud I walked through along the road. This relationship is no Cinderella fairy tale about climbing into wealth. I am just an ordinary urban woman who endured real-world hardships, kept my heart pure, and met someone who truly appreciated me. I remain Qian Fei, ordinary yet resilient and shining. There are thousands of kinds of love in the world. Not every romance has to be spectacular. The finest love carries mortal warmth, hidden in trivial daily moments, in silent backing during crisis, and in the boundaries of mutual respect. It is not one person's redemption for another, but two ordinary human beings comforting and fulfilling each other amid the mortal world. You do not need to reshape yourself to cater to anyone, nor abandon your ideals for a relationship. The right person accepts all your past, supports your career dreams, tastes worldly trivial warmth with you, and shields you from worldly storms. For the rest of my life, I will no longer pin all fantasies on romance. My career is my anchor, my family my concern, and my lover my added blessing. I am grateful for both wounds and gifts from the past. Pain taught me sobriety, and warmth taught me courage. I once loved the wrong person and finally met the right one. I understand. The so-called love with mortal warmth means first of all building a fulfilling life of my own, and secondly, cherishing shared days with another person. Live well by yourself before you love someone else. That is the most precious lesson time has taught me.